What's going on YouTube? I want to try to squeeze this one off before I leave. If not, I'm going to have to post it um, on my lunch break. Okay. Until I see a highly attractive, but more importantly, a highly successful non-black man with a black woman that historically black men have not been checking for in terms of the last 20, 25 years, in terms of the exposure of hip-hop culture, um, there really is no room for argument. Um, like I said, give me a man that can go off and get whatever he wanted in terms of his own group, right, because of his level of success and a little bit of his attractiveness. You know, we know that men, it's not too much of how you look. It helps, but, you know, if you got the dough, you got the dough. Give me an example of that. And like I said, they're actually with black women that black men have said we're not checking for. Then we can have a very significant conversation. Not saying that black women have instantly proven a point. All I'm trying to say is that we can have the conversation, because there's points where I will still make, and obviously there's points that you guys are going to make, and hence the whole, well, this will be a very significant conversation. But until I see that, fall back. Don't give me the whole sort of black woman that black men have already said we're checking for. You know, like I said before, whenever black women try to validate their attractiveness in the eyes of non-black men, they'll pull on anything. And it's like, sweetie, I'm already checking for her. Don't give me Halle Berry, of course. Don't give me Tatiana Ali or, you know, some unknown chick. You know how she looks like. So you can reference that to what black men put in their music videos and what black men have already said that they like. Don't play dumb. As a black woman, you obviously know what we're looking for. So don't show me a chick that you know deep down inside, yeah, black men aren't going to necessarily look her over. Right? You know, let's keep it real. It doesn't mean that I like her personally, but even I know, yeah, you know, the vast majority of black men wouldn't pass her up. I may not holler at her, but, you know, she's a keeper. Right? So please, if you're going to give me an example, like I said, follow my guidelines. And also, do not give me the mediocre rank and file sort of non-black guy and act as if he's somehow significant, because he can't go off and pull the best and brightest of his own group. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but it's just a part of life, right? Just like for a lot of brothers, I mean, you know, if you're rank and file, it's not like you're going off and getting the best and brightest. I mean, if you play your cards right, you'll be okay, but, you know, if you're thinking that you're just going to go out and just shut it down, you have something coming, right? So don't do that. You know, a lot of black women will take the average sort of guy. Yeah, he has a little bit of money, he's educated, he has his degree. Yeah, he's okay, but he's not a standout. He's not going off and getting whatever he wants. And they'll take that and act like we're supposed to deal with it on some, well, what about this? And I'm like, okay, you know, it's not like he is the head honcho of his own group. And even with that, show me the chick that he's actually with. Don't give me the black girl that black men have already said I would be checking for, because it still doesn't work. So either way, I need to see a black woman that historically, right, has not been checked for. And then you'll have my attention, and we can have that significant conversation in regards to why is it that other men seem to find me attractive, but successful black men don't. We can have that conversation all day, every day. And if other black men don't want to have it, I will have it with you. No problems with that. Right? You know, real talk. I want to make this final point before I get off. Black men, the ones that are actually in professional white-collar America, okay, we know what's going on. Like I said before, We're not saying that the vast majority of white women or non-black women are checking for us. We're saying that, A, they make up a larger population. So even with their small percentage, it's still significant considering that we make up a small percentage out of overall in terms of the composition of professional America. We're very small, right? So 1% of anything is going to be pretty significant when you compare it to 50 or 60% of the black population for both male and female, because our numbers overall are piss poor, right? So we said all we need, I don't even say that, I don't like that word, but all we really have to have happen is, let's say, 2% of white women. So let's say out of 50 white women, let's say one is checking for us. So out of every 50 white women, one is checking for black men. Well, guess what? How many groups of 50 white women am I going to come across in about a year when you consider the number or the percentage that they make up in professional America, and when you also consider that they know how to filter themselves out socially, because you know professionals tend to only socialize with other professionals. I'm going to run into a whole bunch, to the point where if I run into, let's say, 8 groups of 50 in about a year, that's 8 women who are checking for me, and that's not including other groups of women, right? So overall, they don't make that big of a number in terms of their own group, but it's still significant at the end of the day because there's more of them, and because they know how to filter out people that they're not looking for, right? It is what it is. Same thing with black women. By default, there's more non-black men checking for you because there's more of them. I mean, think about it. If only 1% of white men are checking for black women, so 1 out of 100, how many groups of 100 white men are black women going to run into, right? Especially if they're actually going to the spots where they're supposed to be going to in terms of trying to socialize. They're going to run into a fair amount, right? And that's not even including other non-black, non-white men. They're just going to run into a whole lot more, right, as compared to black men, where let's say 50% of black men are checking for them. So that's 25 black men out of 50 black men. Well, how many groups of 50 is a professional black woman going to run into? How many groups of 50 professional black men would a professional black woman run into, considering our numbers, and also considering the fact that when it comes to checking for black men, black women will still go to spots where there's Jordans and white tees and jerseys and Timberland boots, right? Even in Southern California, they'll complain about what they're not finding, and you ask them where they're going, and it's like, all right, but the second that they're ready to explore their options, they know exactly where to go in West Hollywood. They know exactly where to go in LA and Santa Monica, right? They know the spots where they need to be going to, right? So therefore, they're going to a spot where there's a filter. Y'all will completely throw that out. So when you watch this video, take all that into consideration. But at the end of the day, give me the example that I'm asking for, and we can move on from there. Give me the example of the sort of non-black guy that can go off and get whatever he wanted of his own group that is with a black woman, and here's the key, that has historically not been checked for amongst black men. So if anything, she's going to be closer to the India Iris of the world. Not saying exactly her, but closer to that area. And once you find it, we can talk. I'm not trying to say that you've won and that you've proved your point. All I'm trying to say is that we can now have the conversation about what's going on, right? But until then, peace out. And please, 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 don't waste your time, don't waste my time, and don't waste the times of other people by giving me examples of black women that we've already checked for. You know what we're looking for, right? You guys know. So don't play dumb now and have convenient amnesia in your thirst to prove some sort of point. Y'all take it easy. God bless.